hit all the buttons and then let's start. And there's the music. Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Collie, the Professor Esser, though you wouldn't know to look at my bottom screen. And with me as always is...
Phil, me, and Perich.
That's the man. Hey, Philip. So glad you're here. I was making fun of Philip because none of our lower bars are working anymore. And Phil was the first person to have his lower bar not working. Phil's a Mac user. And we basically figured that because he's a Mac user and we associate with him, Google doesn't want us to have tools anymore. Google says no.
You really don't want that Apple sponsorship, do you?
Hey, yeah, Apple, you want to send me the MacBook, and we will do this all FaceTime. Okay, I promise you, Apple. Because honestly, my son, he wants a MacBook so bad. If I ever win the lottery, that's his first gift. He knows. He's waiting. Says, you win the lottery yet, Dad? No. And tonight's episode actually is brought to you by the good folks at AT&T, whose Wi-Fi hotspot through my cell phone is what I'm broadcasting on. So if I sound horrible, that's why. And if I sound great, then know that, hey, AT&T, you do a really good job. Because I've got like 2 bars. That's something I was noticing. On like I turned on my Wi-Fi hotspot for my son yesterday. It's like he's on YouTube. It's like, but I get lousy AT&T phone reception. Why is my Wi-Fi through AT&T so much better? I'm guessing Wi-Fi uses way less bandwidth than phones, which makes me wonder, why is my cell phone not working on a VoIP system then? Because that would seem like it would be way more practical for you, AT&T. Think about it, AT&T. Work through this stuff, okay? I don't got time to do all the technological thinking for you. You're supposed to have scientists to realize this stuff. Okay, that's my rant on technology. You have anything to add to the conversation, Philip?
No. AT&T, we love you. We'd love for you to be a sponsor also.
Yeah, AT&T, good old Ma Bell. For those of you old enough to remember when there was a phone company, and that was Ma Bell. Beautiful Mother Bell. Not a harsh big brother, but an all-loving mother. That's how we refer to her. Anyway, moving right along. Important news in the world today. Stan Lee is still alive.
Yay!
The world was rocked for a few moments there when Stan Lee was rushed to Mount Sinai, as men of his age are wont to do. But as being the iconoclast he is, Stan Lee got up and said, "Enough said," and walked right out. Stan Lee, he is not to be trifled with. That man's got gamma rays, cosmic rays. Here's the thing. I'll guarantee you that man exposed himself to every type of radiation there was in the 60s, back when you could just like get radiation kits in like in the back of comic books. And so I'm sure he's got some kind of superpowers going. I don't know what they are, but clearly not dying is one of them. So bravo, Stan Lee. I gotta say I was worried when he went in. Because
I mean, he is a man of advanced years. Yeah, he always got to worry.
Yeah, he's nearly 100 years old. He is older than Captain America. Think about that for a minute. Think about how old Captain America is.
He's old. Yeah, Captain America, Batman, Superman, all of them.
No, I mean like in the comic book. So Captain America was, I think, 18 in 1941. I think Stan Lee was like 22 in 1941. Stan Lee is actually older than Steve Rogers, the character, in the context of the comic books.
And let's even
think about that.
And let's even say, even if they were the same age, Steve Rogers had, even with Super Soldier Serum, had to go into the deep freeze and, spend a couple decades frozen. Stan Lee lived every single moment of that 95 years.
Yeah. I mean, he is basically, Captain Midlands. Shout out to our Marvel UK fans out there, which I'm sure we have 3. Captain Midlands, for those who don't know, is a character who is basically a British super soldier that worked. And he did eventually, he didn't go insane, but he eventually did betray his allies in MI13.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was so sad and lonely. Because basically he was Captain America, but never went into a deep freeze. And so he was like young and virile forever. But he also was still this guy from the 1940s. So he was basically, I'm trying to remember who wrote him. Oh, I can't remember who the writer was who created Captain Midlands. But he basically described him as, and it was a British writer who created him. And he said, I always thought about, these old guys, at the bar, at the pub, the old World War II vets who were like, kids today. So what if like Captain America was like, kids today, with their Wi-Fi and their higgledy-piggledy, I don't know anymore, but still looking like he was, freaking 20-year-old Steve Rogers, And that was the idea. Although, guys like Stan Lee, they lived that whole time. They never wound up like that. Because he's like, the kids, I love them. Excelsior, kids. So Excelsior to Stan Lee, may you always be moving onward and upward. Because, Stan Lee lives. And that's a great moment for me. Just the idea that we had that scare, and then he's like, don't scare my fans. Get me out of here.
Although I don't know if it's like an ongoing thing, because I think it was a picture of him at the Black Panther premiere, and he was in a wheelchair in this picture. So,
really? Oh, I didn't see that.
That's what I thought. Yeah, but meanwhile, the article I sent this morning where it said, "Oh yeah, Stan Lee's fine. He's getting out of the hospital." It's like he said, "I'm fine." They said he's going to resume his schedule. I don't know what his schedule was for the weekend, but he's going to resume his schedule.
Yeah, well, not for nothing. Honestly, there's lots of people in wheelchairs in this country who aren't 93 years old. True. I think if you're 93 years old and you want to sit down for a bit.
95, yeah.
95 years old. I always get my internet late. If you're 95 years old and you want to sit down for a bit, it doesn't mean he can't walk. It just means he doesn't want to.
There's people
half his age. Of a lot of work.
There's people half his age at Walmart in them little scooters, man.
Exactly, man. I'm just saying, it's not like he's there. This is a man, he's lived a long time. And honestly, if him just chilling and rolling, if him rolling with the gangsters keeps him around for another few years, yeah, that's cool by me, man. Gray and nerdy. That's our Stan Lee. Anyway, so that's our Stan Lee news. Good news about Stan Lee. He got out of the hospital.
He's
one hopes, or at least I don't know if he wants to be immortal. Because I don't want him turning into a cricket eventually.
I want to see that. I want to see that Stan Lee 100th birthday party.
You and me, every human being on the planet, even DC or Die fans.
That's gonna be
just coined.
That's gonna be like the biggest cosplay event of the century. Stan Lee's 100th anniversary birthday.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. But this is the thing I want to talk about. Transitioning into DC or Die, which I've never heard before, but I just coined because I was thinking, DC needs a term like Make Mine Marvel. And DC, they're a bit edgier over there at DC. They got a lot of emotions, which is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. They're very emotional people, the DC fans. Phil, because you're a DC fan too.
I'm both, yes.
Yeah, you go both ways. Philip swings both ways. He makes his Marvel, and he's DC or Die. He is, I'm going to say, he's DC or Die because I will say this: Phil likes Nightwing more than I like Ben Grimm.
How's that possible?
I think no, it is possible because there are books with Ben Grimm that I haven't read. You know, I mean, I think you like Nightwing more than I like Boulder.
I was going to say, forget Ben Grimm, what about Boulder?
Yeah, well, you know, the thing about Boulder is because Boulder's only in such a rare number of books, it's really easy to say I've read everything Boulder's been in because it's like 10 books tops.
One, there's some Titan stuff I haven't read with Nightwing in it, and two, I think if you had the time and money, you'd read every Ben Grimm appearance.
Possibly. And but you know what? If you had the time and money, I think you'd read every single Dick Grayson appearance, going back to when he was Robin. You would read Dick Grayson in the nightshirt, laying next to Bruce Wayne in the bed, in a purely heterosexual way.
Hey, if nothing else, his first appearance, what is that? Detective Comics? Is it 38? I think his first appearance. I mean, it's a good investment.
Oh no, he was in Batman #1. Wasn't he? He was in Batman. He was in Batman #2.
Who?
Robin.
I believe.
I think it was in Batman #1. I thought it was introduced in Batman #1. I didn't think it was introduced in Detective Comics.
No, it was Detective Comics. I believe it was 38, but
Okay. Well, I'm not going to question you on Dick Grayson lore. That's one thing I will never do. I'm not even going to question you on Burt Ward lore, quite frankly. No, Burt Ward did this. I was, okay, that's good, Philip. I'm going to go along with you on that.
And not to sidetrack us, but I think they said around Valentine's Day we should have some kind of new more details about the Nightwing movie.
Okay.
I believe Chris McCann, the director. How dare you? I
mean, I here's what I'm gonna say. Until they start releasing footage, I don't trust any comic book film to ever be made. You know, there was a comic book. Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but I read it like almost every month. And it was what was it called? Was it Comics News or this is during the big 80s comic boom, but it was like a big glossy Comics News magazine. And I remember that in the very back of it, they had every current graphic fiction product being developed from anime on down to, Howard the Duck. And you know what? Every month there was a reference to this is what's going on with Howard the Duck. It's in development. There's a director. Some writer is going to do something. And, which is, not for nothing, the whole, right now Marvel can't back out of a Black Widow film, which is why I think the Black Widow film is happening. Because I think they've gotten to a point where they just can't back out of it. It's like, and they knew that.
Yeah, once you announce it, no.
But I think that might have been why they held off on it for so long, because they knew once the blood was in the water, they weren't going to be able to walk that back. There was no way to walk that back. So, which is why I think we are going to get a Black Widow film, which will be lovely. But let's talk about Black Panther films.
All right,
which is actually what I wanted to get to with my DC or Die point. So, first point, apparently a bunch of pathetic white dudes. I call them pathetic white dudes to differentiate them from normal white dudes like me and Phil.
Yeah, we're awesome.
Well, I said we were normal. I didn't say we were awesome. But we basically can watch a film with people who aren't white males and enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. But,
2 weeks.
Apparently, these are the 2 weeks. Oh, goodness. Yeah. I hope I can afford to go. I was so excited. I had a job and then I lost it because stuff happens. You know what? You got to live with life the way it is. But anyway, so these guys, and apparently, and I found out reading into these are the same guys that said, we're going to ruin the Metacritic score on Rotten Tomatoes for The Force Awakens, or not The Force Awakens. What was the other one? Return of the Jedi. No, not Return. Last Jedi, or maybe it was Rogue One. I don't know. One of the films that had that dared to have a female protagonist, because they're basically very sad people who need to express how sad they are by saying things they've never seen are bad. And I don't get it. I honestly do not get it.
I was trying to figure out, is this a racist thing, or is just angry DC fans that Marvel's, kicking DC's butt when it comes to the movies?
No, because and what I'm going to say is this is the thing. I don't think it's just DC fans, because I think DC fans. Here's what I'm going to say: DC fans don't want to ruin Marvel. They want DC to be better.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see them as popular as Marvel.
Well, or even just and you look at a guy like Tyler, who very much loved Man of Steel. He very much loved. He loves it all. He is to DC what I am to Marvel.
Oh yeah.
He is very much. He's in the tank. He is a DC or die guy. Just I'm gonna make my Marvel man. These are great terms, man. We gotta copyright this stuff. And and something is going to have to be Fantastic Four or Inhumans level bad for Tyler to say that wasn't good. And the fact of the matter is that everything Zack Snyder did in his universes have been, better than the Inhumans or the Fantastic Four. I think we can all agree to that. Honestly, I haven't actually watched any of the Zack Snyder films ever, except for Watchmen, which I really liked. Actually, I liked Watchmen, but I've never watched 300 because honestly, that's too much slow motion. I had a hard enough time with fast motion in Gladiator. Like, fast motion is weird to me that it's like something they do in action sequences now.
Yeah, it's
like, no, fast motion is strictly for comedy. You don't do fast motion in action. Because you should be like Bruce Lee and just be fast.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my Bruce Lee was just fast. He didn't need fast motion. He just was that fast. But yeah, so the DC, and I'm not going to these DC or die guys because they're not DC or die guys. They are social injustice warriors who hate the idea that people that don't look like them are in movies. Which is weird because I hate to tell you this, I like Captain America. I look nothing like any of the Chris's. Like, the closest Chris I can look like is Chris Pratt. I don't look anything like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris, but how many of us
in the Chaz Esser movie?
How many of us look like that? Not 95% of the population doesn't look like that.
But that's the point. I look as much like Chris Pratt as I look like any of the characters in Black Panther. In fact, I will tell you this right now. I'm trying to remember is it Chadwick Boseman?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I look as much like Chris Pratt as Chris Pratt looks like Chaz. Actually, no. Chris Pratt looks more like Chadwick Boseman than I look like Chris Pratt. Okay? So let's be honest here about representation in films. I don't look like Chris Pratt. I don't look like Chadwick Boseman. I don't look like any of the Chris's. And I don't even look like the slightly chubby Hemsworth brother that was in the Thor plate in Thor 3. Like I wish I looked that good as the non-famous Hemsworth brother. This is the reality of it. These are not representations of me, and so I shouldn't feel so offended when representations that aren't me are still cool. I never looked like who's that guy from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, The Matrix, and
Keanu Reeves.
I never looked like Keanu Reeves.
Whoa.
In my best day, I never looked as good as Keanu Reeves. He's a very, very handsome man. Really, he is really handsome. So is that short guy who does the Mission Impossible films.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah. I used to look, because he used to have very crooked teeth. I have very crooked teeth. And so very early in his career, we had that in common. That went away pretty much after Days of Thunder. After Days of Thunder, he got his teeth fixed, and now he smiles all the time.
They threw him through the Scientology machine.
Well, I guess. Well, no, he went to an orthodontist and got adult braces because he could afford them now. But you watch like a lot of films before Days of Thunder. He never smiles a lot. He doesn't do big toothy grins. After that, it's all big toothy grins, which is one of the reasons why people think he's kind of nutso, because he's always doing these big toothy grins. But it's really just because he was a guy who always had very crooked teeth that then got him straightened, and I was like, look at my teeth, they look great.
Mm-hmm.
This is the truth. You can look it up. Wikipedia that.
But I mean, the whole Black Panther thing. I mean, it's like a cultural event. I mean, this is,
Yeah. Well,
I just saw this on Twitter today. Students at the Atlanta Ron Clark Academy, I guess it's a middle school. The school was taking them to see the Panther. They're saying we will have a day of cultural classes, African dancers, historical lessons, and then we will all go see the film. See, look, they announced it. They're all dancing.
Yeah, well, why not? You know what?
Hey, the only thing I'm mad at is I'm jealous. I mean, can you imagine when you were in middle school if they told you that they were going to take you to see a Marvel movie as part of the curriculum?
Awesome.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Just to get out of the school would have been great, but to go to the movies and see a Marvel movie?
Not for nothing, Marvel wasn't making films that good at that point.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is, I did see Darby O'Gill and the Little People when I was a kid in school. I mean, here's the thing. We watched movies in school all the time, and they usually had white male protagonists. In high school, I watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail because we were Catholic, and it's, religious, sort of. I went to Catholic school.
Say neat.
Yeah, but the idea is that I mean, that's the thing. It's like you think, oh, why are all these African Americans getting so excited about Black Panther? I'm like, yeah, every school year, every kid is wearing green and putting shamrocks and stuff in the middle of March. Think about that for a minute. That St. Patrick's Day is so big in this country, and we're not all that Irish. But it's a shared holiday. Well, I've always loved St. Patrick's Day because you don't have to be Irish to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Unless you're in like really Irishy neighborhoods, then the Irish get really particular about it. Like if you grow up in neighborhoods that are much more diverse, like in Detroit, St. Patrick's Day is very big. A lot of African Americans begin to think St. Patrick's Day, because why not? It's a fun holiday. We drink, and as I always say, we are all brothers in beer. We all wear green and say, today we shall all be Irish. Today we shall all share in the struggle that being Irish once was. And today we will remember that we all were once strangers to this shore. We all were once followers of a strange pagan, foreign religion. We were all members of a group that was hated and despised and sought to be blocked. And St. Patrick's Day is the day that we say, no, have Christian charity. And say, even those we fear and dread must be seen as our brothers and blessed. And when St. Patrick went to Ireland, because he's not from Ireland, he's from Turkey. He's Turkish. He's a Middle Easterner, if I recall correctly. That could be St. Nicholas that he's Turkish. St. Patrick might be Polish. I'm not 100% sure which saint was Turkish, which saint was Polish. They might have both been Turkish, because there was a lot of saints from Turkey. Because the Turks went out, because that's where Christianity starts, is over there, among the swarthy Middle Eastern types that people are trying to ban from this country for some reason. Goodness knows why. And, but he said, even these crazy pagans up in Ireland deserve to be seen as human and brothers and must be judged as our brothers, not as something less than us. And that's the beauty of St. Patrick's Day. Even though green is a supervillain color, we don it on that day to say, even the supervillains we shall love.
Yeah, so I mean, not only are African Americans getting a representation on the screen, it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Because
have you seen
are you gonna say, did you see that they were talking? I guess there was talks back in the 90s.
I'm sorry, what?
I thought you were gonna mention. I guess what was it, the last day or two? I guess there was talk in the '90s of doing a Black Panther movie with Wesley Snipes.
Oh, well, like I said, in the back of that magazine I used to read that I can't remember the name of. If I went to my garage, I could pull those out because I still have them in my boxes. No, it was a comic book thing.
Oh, okay.
Which honestly isn't that different than Playboy. It's just you don't show the nipples because this was the '90s, and that's how they drew them.
Thank you, Jim Lee.
God bless America. Yeah, they've always been doing that. They've always been saying this will be the next thing, and not for nothing, we were going to have a Black Widow film back in the '70s, starring some female. No, Mick Jagger's wife. Who's Mick Jagger's wife?
Which one?
No, the one that was a model. Like the one that's Bianca Jagger's mother.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, she's gonna be Black Widow.
Her name is. She was gonna be. She bought the rights. She was gonna be Black Widow, and they actually did like some test shots of it, and there was this whole thing they were gonna do, and then it never came. But it's fine. And it's good that it's gonna be coming.
Is it Dora Macias Sumeriba?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because I guess that's Bianca Jagger's mother.
Okay, well then maybe it is. Okay,
that's what I said. I mean, he's had how many wives? So, or who knows?
Or is Bianca Jagger Mick Jagger's daughter? Or is Bianca Jagger his wife? I don't know. Anyway,
wonder if I can find a list of Mick Jagger's wives.
God bless Mick Jagger and all of the places his talent has been. But I think my point is that they've always been developing things and things never come about. But honestly, I don't think that just because something came about in the '70s or the '60s or the '80s, it would have been bad.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think the Thor they came up with in the '80s for the Incredible Hulk movie was that bad. I actually thought it was actually a pretty good take on Thor. In fact, there was a whole moment in that movie, The Incredible Hulk Returns, where I really felt that is an awesome way to discuss Thor as a character, where they actually have, because in that, of course, predating the comics embracing the idea of really having Don Blake and Thor be different people.
Mm-hmm.
That when Don Blake calls Thor forth, he is actually bringing Thor forth from this other place, from a place of, as he says, smoke and nothing. And I love the line. It says, imagine that you are there and you have no arms, and you have no heart and no blood to pump through your arms. And then one moment you are real again. And it is such a moving moment as a scene. And of course, in my mind, it's gotten more and more moving and powerful as I've not seen it in so many years. Much like many scenes that touched me in movies, where the more I think about it, the more the importance of that scene gets impressed on me. But still, it's a scene that impressed on me. Mm-hmm. And I really think that had they done a Thor series with Don Blake and Thor, fighting crime, that would have been pretty cool. It would have been interesting. Oh man, think about all the ways they could have done that story, especially if they got to this point where if Thor isn't, because he could have called Thor forth and just left him, because it's not like Don Blake and Thor share an existence. And then they could have done a whole weird thing where Thor can be out if Don Blake is in the other. They could have done a whole, what do you call it? Captain Marvel negative zone thing, mm-hmm. where Rick Jones and Captain Marvel can't be in the same place at the same time. Do you think we'll get Rick Jones in?
Captain Marvel, maybe. I mean, we're getting Marvel. Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, I know we're getting Marvel. I mean,
I think
Rick was.
I think even if we don't get the character, we'll at least get some kind of Easter egg with the name Rick Jones, because I mean, remember in the first Thor movie they called out Don Blake.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's weird that Rick Jones isn't more a part of the legend of Captain Marvel. But as I've always said, the whole thing about Captain Marvel wasn't a star until he died. You know.
Well, for a while, when his son was Captain Marvel, Rick Jones was bonded to him for a while when they were switching out in the microverse.
The microverse for some reason?
Mm-hmm. Peter David.
Getting the microverse coming up, yes, because of course. Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer.
Well, let's get to Hank Pym had the foresight to ensure that a building that was being built that's going to be in the trailer.
They could just walk away with it. Oh, put a handle on it.
Yeah, he said, he put a miniaturized handle into it that was shrunk with Pym particles, that when the building was shrunk with Pym particles, the handle and the wheels would grow out. And so that's how he can do it, because he's Hank Pym. He does these things. Whatever he did, he knew how to fit it up so that I'm gonna quantumly translocate these things onto this building. It's already existing building. I can headcanon this. It does not bother me at all. You know, and nobody minded when Black Dwarf did, or was it Dwarf Star? In the last Flash episode.
Oh yeah, like Dwarf Star, yeah.
Yeah, did the exact same thing, and those writers saw that clip beforehand and said, "That's a cool idea. Let's steal it." And then, of course, and nobody mentions it, but then, of course, Hank Pym does it. Wow, how does that? It's like, why weren't you complaining when Dwarf Star did it? You shrunk a building. That doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't. Except it doesn't make any sense that the Baxter Building flies up into space every couple of weeks. Basically, if you're a superhero and you're in a building, you design these buildings very modularly.
Well, yeah, especially when your power is to shrink stuff, you always build handles and
exactly.
stuff.
And so we got the new Ant-Man Wasp trailer. That looks good.
And who's the villain? Who's the villain?
Who is the villain?
The Ghost.
Oh, the Ghost is the villain?
I believe. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that in the trailer. I didn't get that from the trailer. I
didn't see much in the trailer, but I saw everyone freaking out on social media. They're like, "Yeah, the Ghost," and I guess it's like a female version of the Ghost. What? You don't know?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but here's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
When
Charlie.
they actually gave us no. Here's what I'm gonna say. The entire character of the Ghost, as we've been introduced to him in his super secret origin, which we finally got, which was awesome. The actual super secret origin of the Ghost, because people forget, nobody knew what the Ghost is. Basically, here's a set of powers and a character. And it's weird. Like when you first see the Ghost in Iron Man, he kind of looks like Moon Knight because he's like kind of buff. Mm-hmm. Like all supervillains were drawn at that time. And then when you see him like years later in Thunderbolts, he's like now emaciated and like skinny and like crazy looking. And what you actually get as the actual origin of the Ghost is he's this guy who created these essentially quantum superpositioned microchips.
Mm-hmm.
Because so that could run hot, and that it didn't matter how much energy you put through them, because they could both exist and not exist. They wouldn't overheat.
Yeah, can you see that image? There's the Ghost.
Oh, I did not see that. That was in the trailer. Oh man, I missed that.
Because I watched it on my phone. I'm gonna have to watch it again on my computer tonight. But yeah.
Well, there you go, the Ghost. And so my problem with the female Ghost, although I guess it could work. I just hope they don't de-nerd her, and I hope they don't get someone like who's actually like a pretty girl with glasses to play her. Because the real Ghost, he was fat, he was overweight, and he was a guy who was very easily manipulated by a female antagonist. And now, I'm not saying you can't. You know who would be great is one of the girls from Broad City. If the Ghost is, do we know who's playing the Ghost?
Yeah, No, we know. I'm trying to look for a name, but I was pulling up an image. Yeah, she's not fat.
Well, she doesn't have to be. She could be Hollywood girl fat, but
there. Can you see that?
yeah, no, she sucks. No, I mean, I'm sorry.
Like, she's not too hot.
Well, okay. The whole
because you were too hot.
If you're gonna play the ghost, yeah, it's like it's like if you cast one of the handsome men we've mentioned earlier as Boulder. It's like that's not who Boulder is. It's like you're gonna be the ghost, be the freaking ghost. Be a nerd who's been manipulated by wealthy people who have power over you. Because he killed everybody. He killed the lady that was manipulating him with sex. He killed the people that were manipulating him with money. He killed them all. He is a sociopathic murderer. And you can do that with a female. I don't mind that. But don't cast, the latest hot girl as it. Like I said, if you had cast one of the actresses from Broad City who basically play themselves to be plain ladies, sexy ladies in their own right, and sexually fulfilled ladies in their own right, but still clearly meant to be plain ladies, that's fine. I would rather they actually cast a real kind of chubby nerd girl. Because why do chubby nerd girls not get representation on screen?
It's Hannah John Kamen, Kamen. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I'm sure she's going to be a great actress. I'm sure she's wonderful. I'm just saying, nerd actors, like real nerds, need casting too. Real nerd girls need casting too. You want to cast as a female, that's fine. The ghost isn't ripped. Although, again, like I said, if you want to go back to that first iteration of the ghost, he looked like freaking Moonlight. He was all ripped and buff, and so maybe they're going with that. Maybe they're going with that Tony Stark first appearance of the ghost, which is fine. Fine! You've out-nerded me again, myself.
I wonder if she's going to be American or not, because she is a British actress.
I don't know. Yeah. Don't we always cast British actors as Americans? I mean,
most of the time anymore. It's like Walking Dead. Half that show is British actors.
Well, yeah, because they work cheaper.
Oh.
No, I mean, no, not for nothing, really. That's why people are like, why are all these British actors and these Australian actors playing American characters? Because American actors want too much. Because you can find these guys, and because they're basically they're like the immigrant labor. They're literally the immigrant labor of Hollywood. They're guys who basically, it's either this or you're going to be a slug on Doctor Who. What do you want to be? You want to be the next Doctor Who villain for like 3 episodes? Go right ahead and get British scale, Or you can come here and we're going to pay you a little bit more, So they go outside of the U.S. because U.S. actors know how much actors get paid. And so when American actors go with their agents to whatever, they say, oh, well, Tom Cruise gets this. It's like, yeah, but you're not Tom Cruise. I mean, really,
are you saying British? Are you talking about British people's teeth? Because remember, you said Tom Cruise used to have crooked teeth.
Well, yeah, Tom Cruise, but now he has his teeth fixed, and he's gotten much more money since he did. And I don't think there's any British actors with bad teeth. And British people don't necessarily have bad teeth. Actually, Americans have much worse teeth because Americans really don't care about dental care. And like I said, my teeth are crooked as heck. I got awful teeth. Just sad, because I used to have great teeth. I don't know. It's like I don't smoke, but just as I've aged, my teeth have started to fall apart. Too much apple juice, perhaps. I read your mind, Phil.
Human beings weren't meant to live this long. Ask Stan Lee.
Well, no, we weren't meant to. Well, no, Stan Lee,
Well, he's the indestructible Stan Lee.
Yeah, well, there's that what if about the Marvel bullpen gaining the powers of the Penta's
cosmic rays. Okay.
Yeah, because they brought a cosmic ray thing into the bullpen for reasons, and I've always felt that was based on a true story. Anyway. So the ghost is a pretty girl now. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to fight it. Here's what I'm going to say, Phil.
I just wonder if they wanted like a female like antagonist for the Wasp.
Well, that's fine. You can have a female antagonist,
but don't make her the ghost.
First off, there's lots of pretty female antagonists in the Marvel Universe. There's lots of pretty male antagonists. If they had made the Puma female, because the Puma's the villain, right? Most of the time, half the time. Part of the time.
Yeah.
He's usually a villain because he fights Spider-Man. That makes you a villain. You know, I mean, although because he fights Spider-Man, maybe they couldn't get access to him. But you know, there's lots of villains you could cast. Because the Ghost isn't even an Ant-Man villain. You know?
Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah, he's an Iron Man villain. He's not an Ant-Man villain. Although, okay. So what they're doing is they're using Hank Pym as a Iron Man pastiche as the head of Pym Industries.
Because
billionaire industrialist that the Ghost is going to. Yeah.
The Ghost is anti-corporation, yeah. So.
Yeah, well, of course, which is great. Everyone loves that. Everyone loves, tear down the corporations. You know, whether she's going to be a Bernie Sanders supporter or a Trump supporter doesn't matter. They're all crazy because they all want to tear things down. They're all crazy.
Actually,
if you believe, yeah.
Fight me, nerds!
Fight me, political nerds. You know, I'll throw down. I wasn't even gonna get political tonight. I was thinking about making a whole illusion between the fervor over the dossier, not the dossier, the Nunez memo and its resulting patheticness, and worrying about Stan Lee, who is obviously immortal and is not going anywhere anytime soon. So, but I didn't. I avoided that. But yeah. But you mentioned the Ghost, and she's a very political character.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I see what they're doing. They're going to be casting Hank Pym as the Tony Stark, as like the original Tony Stark. You know.
Yes.
Except with a marriage that I guess was somewhat stable because they had a kid, you know? I don't know. I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, clearly, although Howard Stark got married and had a kid too, so I guess there's some things. Now that would be interesting when you get Janet Van Dyne, Hope Pym, and Tony Stark meeting. That'll be an interesting story in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, see, I didn't even know about this Ghost thing, and that got me all off track. I'm all mad. I actually wanted to talk about the Black Panther clip where they gave the 90 minutes of was it Bilbo Baggins getting found out? Or was that Frodo getting found out at the casino where they're made? And then you see the one bodyguard rips off her wig and throws it at someone, and then another person pulls off her shoe and beats someone with it. And I was just thinking, man, this is a very black film. Based on every black comedy routine I've ever seen, the idea of taking off your wig and hitting someone with your shoe, that's a thing. That's a thing that apparently...
You're comparing it to a Tyler Perry movie?
I'm saying this could be Tyler Perry's Black Panther. That's at Charlie Esser. Fight me, nerds. We'll see if Lilith noticed that too, as the actual black, the black female of our group. Yeah,
bring it up tomorrow morning on Capes and Lunatics.
Yes, who has to speak for all other groups aside from white males among our group. That's sad. Yeah, I at least can speak for fat people, but. Well, I guess Tyler could. Well, I don't know. I'm definitely fatter than Tyler. I do think I'm fatter than Tyler. But, you know. And honestly, I only know Tyler from pictures on Facebook, and everyone knows Facebook adds 20 pounds. So he could look like Chris Pratt for all I know. Yeah. But I'm a person who is always talking about fat inclusion in comic books and movies because we are a forgotten group. I'm just saying, fat people get hate. That's all I'm saying.
Look at that cloning weight loss plan Otto went on.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what though? Not for nothing. I'm just going to say this. You ever see, if you ever read Secret Wars #3, I think it was, when Frank from Bayonne meets the hooker. I think it's #3. Might be #2, but I think it's #3. And you see, basically, because he starts eating and just starts eating and eating and eating, and he gets super fat. And no one's going to tell him that he's fat. And he's like, wait, no, I can tell because I'm beyond it, and I know what's going on in your mind, that you don't find the fat attractive. And then he's just like, just get rid of it. That's fine. It just matter on my body. I can remove the matter. That's easy. I am freaking the Beyonder. And, but the point is that, if Otto, I bet you Otto's going to get fat again. Especially if he winds up with Marconi again. Because you remember one of the things he loved about Marconi. You remember what cooking. He cooking. Oh, you ever see that episode of Friends where they did the What If Friends, where it's like, what if
Monica got
Joey,
that? Yeah.
No. What if it was like, what if Monica didn't lose the weight, and like all these what if these things happened? And one of them was, what if Monica and Joey had started dating? And then he flashes it, and she's like, Joey, and he's like just 300 pounds. It's like, what'd you make tonight, honey? It's like, your favorite meat with cheese. Like, oh, I love that. And he's great. Honestly, I love who's the actor who plays Joey? He disappears so much in his roles, it's hard to remember. Matt LeBlanc.
Yes.
I love Matt LeBlanc. He is such a fantastic comic actor. Does not get enough work. Because, ironically enough, he's too pretty.
He's got some sitcom on CBS right now, I believe.
Yeah, and he's a pretty guy in that. Yeah, no, he gets work because he's pretty, but no one gives him the props for his comedy because he's so pretty. It's Jenny McCarthy's curse too. You're a pretty comic, you have a hard time. Mm-hmm. You got to be a little bit. You got to be a little bit plain and disheveled. Not too bad. Although you can actually become a billionaire, ugly comic too. There have been a lot of rich ugly comics, but if you're a really pretty person, as a comic, it's a lot harder out there. It's hard to be a pretty comic, Phil. If you were in comedy, you'd know how hard it is. Because Phil is very pretty. I think we can all agree to that.
Well, that's why they won't. Show business won't take Charlie Esser seriously. He's too pretty.
No. They'll take me seriously as a comic. Yeah. Because think about it. Every chubby actor with the one exception, there's one exception of a chubby actor except he always does, he still does comedy, so it's really not, but every chubby actor who got famous started out as a comic character. And only got to be a good actor character after he proved himself through comedy. I was going to say Jack Black, but Jack Black still does comedy. Jack Black has always done comedy. Jack Black doesn't do anything but comedy.
Jonah Hill
started in comedy. Jonah Hill, he can do drama now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But he started in comedy, and the same with who is it? Philip Seymour Hoffman. Mm-hmm. Like the most. In fact, I want to say that Philip. No, it was the other guy, the bald guy with the red hair. He's in everything nowadays. But there's a lot of great comic actors who are great actors, but they all had to start in comedy because they weren't conventionally attractive. But if you're conventionally attractive, like a Matt LeBlanc, and Matt LeBlanc, he puts on a couple pounds every so often, and they do like jokes about, I'm fat Matt LeBlanc. They go, he's Matt LeBlanc. It's like, he's still Matt LeBlanc. It's sort of like when Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, and it's like, you really have great bone structure. It's like, yeah, your face is a little blotchy. Basically, the horrible mutation that Deadpool has in the films is he's kind of got acne.
Yeah.
Deadpool basically needs some Oxy-10. That is literally the extent of, I'm a horrible, disfigured monster. It's like, just get some Oxy-10. Really, really, really do. That'll clear that right out.
Yeah.
Maybe put a little foundation down. It's not that bad. Your bone structure is fantastic because Ryan Reynolds is a really beautiful man. One of the few beautiful people who was able to make his way in comedy and be a success in comedy. But mostly because he was so beautiful that he could play beautiful dorks and beautiful jerks. He could play 80s villain characters, you know, the beautiful guys, but then who get their comeuppance. So, you know, there's a whole spectrum here. Okay.
All right, let's wrap it up because
let's wrap it up, Phil. Anything else?
No, I believe that's it.
That's all we got. That's all there is. There ain't no more. So quit your knocking at my door. Philip, how can people talk to you?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. Capes and Lunatics @gmail.com, and our voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-Capes. Stay tuned. Coming up on hold on in a few minutes. Wade's World and Newcastle Crew tomorrow morning. Capes and Lunatics. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can watch Charlie Esser ask Mark Wade in person. Who is Voyager? And
we all know who Voyager is. Okay, I'm not going to ruin it because it's going to be an obvious spoiler.
You can see him confirm it.
And I'm going to say, look, we all know who Voyager is, so we're not even going to discuss it. We've already talked about it in earlier episodes. Yeah, we all know, so it's not even worth mentioning.
So Charlie,
and honestly, if I tell him, he's going to be like, "Oh, no, that's not what it is." And they go, "We have to pull all those off the production line quickly. I have to make a call. I have to cut this short. I have something important to do. Totally related to what you just said." But in the meantime, you can always write to me at an old-fashioned email way at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitters. But I don't live tweet much of anything anymore because I don't have cable anymore. Because apparently cable wants you to pay money to watch their shows. And unfortunately, my digital TV doesn't get in 7 or 11, which is ABC and CW here in New Jersey. So I can't live tweet the shows I normally would. Trying to find my workaround, but we're working on it. Okay, but you can follow me when I do other things, which might be sometime at Charlie Esser at CharlieEsser. Okay, Philip and me. That's our show. You people out there, thank you for connecting with us. Please super connect with us again. That's the show. Little disjointed, but not too bad.
I know, that was great.
Yeah, well, you know, I got to everything I wanted to talk about, you know, and if I'd actually watched The Runaways or anything like that, we could have talked about that.
Insulted all British actors.
I didn't insult them. I said that they were cheaper than American actors because they're British.
You are cheap.